Good morning, good people from beautiful Tennessee. I am here, determined, the handle is still wobbling, determined to make a float fishing video, folks. If the ducks would shut up. Alright, fine, you wanna be in the intro. Be in the intro. Very inconsiderate animals, these ducks. Let's start this over. I'm here today, folks, to make a float fishing video with my new DAIWA Iprimi LT 2000 SP. The only thing that I changed on this reel is I put a full-size knob. I don't like these half-size knobs. They kind of feel rectangular in my fingers. I don't like to feel that. And I did have to open and re-grease the reel. It was a little bit dry. There was virtually nothing on the little oscillation, not oscillation, but the little locomotive gear. And I think this is why the reel didn't feel buttery out of the box. But it does feel buttery now. This is my beloved 4-pound Twitchmaster Mono, which is discontinued now. And I don't like to fish with discontinued stuff because people keep asking me, and what can I say? It's discontinued. I don't know why Varivas discontinued it. It was selling well. I know for a fact because it was always sold out. However, I will repeat again, I'm using this line not because of its performance. The performance is nothing special. It says 4 pounds, but it breaks at, I don't know, 3.5, 3.75. It's not particularly strong or something. I just like the color of it. It looks good with all of my tackle, and it looks kind of, I don't know, soothing. One last thing, if you're wondering why I'm fishing a trout magnet and not a dangle, I still have 5 or 6 trout magnets left. I have to use them. I'm not buying anymore, but I do have to use them, and then I'll migrate solely to dangles and some other things. That's a very nice color trout magnet though, black and red. I forgot the name of this color, but I have had many successful sessions with this color. I've put it on a 1 gram number 12 BG1. Then I have a 0.25 gram olive here. I call these tiny pieces of lead olives because they look like an olive, and they even have a hole in the middle. So you don't have to crimp them on your line. You just have to put a stopper under them. And this is another one of these floats that the factory sends me all white. And then my daughter and my son now, they play with the Sharpies to put some color on them so I can use them. This is a F125 float. Actually, it's supposed to be. I didn't measure every one of them. Yeah. It's F125. Yeah, looks perfect. I hadn't even tried it until now. This one is not available for sale yet, but should be around, I don't know, April, May. The bigger brother, the F150, is available for sale, but the factory sent me the prototype bodies for F100 and F125. I picked up one of the prototypes for mass production, so they should be available in the spring. And that's it. This spot here is a very long point, and it's the only place that I know that you can still find fish shallow in the winter. And that's the point of today's video. I just want to catch some fish on float to see how the new reel sounds, how it feels. They always sound and feel a little bit different, even when they're made on the same platform. Like Legalis has 5, maybe 6 reels built on the same platform, meaning they have the same frame, the same gears, and the same bearings. There will be tiny differences, like they'll put bearing here in the knob, they'll put bearing here in the line roller, but you can put these yourself. But okay, too much yapping. Let's go see where the fish is. They're not going to be trophies. There is no trophies on this lake, but we're going to hear the drag sound. We're going to see. This reel has 4.8 gear ratio, which is, float fishing is actually the one application where 4.8 gear ratio is not what I'm looking for. I don't want 6.3 either, But for float fishing, I'll take like a, I don't know, 5 or 5.5, something like this. I don't know why these geese are so upset with me. They cannot stand me. Man, the float looks great. I can still put a dangle if I lose the trout magnet, but I have to go through my last few trout magnets. Fish? Yeah, fish! I thought I got snagged. I didn't get a bite, I just pulled it and we got a fish. And would you believe it, it's a crappie. My gosh, I love this drag sound, folks. The Legalis, all of the reels on the Legalis platform have a perfect drag sound today. I caught, I don't know, 2 days ago. You know, people say these things. I hate when people say these things, but I think I literally caught 50 bass in one day, folks, without catching a single 1-pounder. They were schooled up and biting like bluegills. Go watch my video that says hairy dangle versus juvenile bass. You'll see it was bass after bass. Okay, let's keep going. If these here are crappie on this slope. Oh, bite again. If these here are crappie, listen to this drag, man. Why can't you just do this, Shimano? Metal drag clicker and plenty of felt. So what now, Sahara and Legalis, the cheaper platforms from DAIWA and Shimano, have better drags, more consistent and better sounding than the higher end platform like Luvius and Vanfort. Because the reels from the higher end platform have a thinner felt, if they do have felt on the first place, and Shimano doesn't even have felt in all of their higher end reels. In some of them they put carbon. And retrofitting carbon back to felt is not simple. Sometimes just one felt doesn't work. I had to put 2. Go away. Oh, maybe they're chasing each other. Oh, I think they're chasing each other. Maybe 2 males. I don't think they're even looking at me. They're chasing each other. Extremely annoying, but I'll take my blessings. The weather is amazing and I see some crappie here. Nothing wrong with some duck noise. There is some baby bluegill. These dots, they're tiny. I caught the one crappie, but these dots that I'm seeing, folks, are tiny. Let me see how deep my float is. Yeah, we can go a little bit higher. Again, I will keep repeating, when you're lifting or lowering your float, do it slow. I don't know why, but it makes a difference when you move it slow. If you just go zit, you look at your line, it will be curled up like a pigtail. So just lift it or lower it slowly. Casting is not difficult at all. Fish. Look at this slow clicks. I have to say, fighting the fish with 4.8 gear ratio is definitely the best. There is no better gear ratio for fighting fish, because you can even reel on the fish. You don't need to lift with the rod tip and then reel slackline, which is what I do with some of the reels that don't feel too powerful. To give you an example, the Luvius STSF, regardless of the low gear ratio, the gears themselves are so tiny that the reel doesn't have power. It doesn't have power. You cannot reel the fish. Well, you can, but you're gonna prematurely wear the entire drivetrain of the reel. So what I do usually is I kind of pull with the rod tip and then I reel up the slack. Man, there is a school of these guys there, and I'm gonna catch as many of them as I can before they move. Man, it sounds and feels amazing. It sounds and feels amazing. Right now, I don't regret spending $150 for this reel. First of all, I think the Legalis is worth $150. I think so. Unless you have bad luck and get one of these Legalis that don't feel perfect, but most of them feel perfect out of the box. Tell you the truth, you have higher probability of getting imperfect Vanfort than imperfect Legalis. Legalis, because it is so simple, and I can say the same about Sahara, have a very high percentage of the reels that come perfect out of the box. You don't need to re-grease, you don't need to retune, you don't need to do anything. Out of the box it feels buttery, silky, perfect, because they're simple. The Vanforts, they have those oscillation worm plastic gears, and then the oscillation worm, on top of being run by plastic gears, sits stock on plastic bushings. So there is a lot of imperfections that come through to the user in a Vanfort. That's why people replace those bushings on the oscillation worm. But that's not gonna fix everything. And I don't even recommend that if your reel feels perfect. Trust me, folks, if out of the box your reel feels perfect, just thank Jesus and don't touch nothing. I don't care how many plastic bushings you can replace in the line roller, in the oscillation worm, in the knob. If your reel feels perfect out of the box, just thank Jesus and start fishing and don't touch anything. Don't replace anything at all, because it's not gonna be always like that. Just 6 months later, if you use the reel a lot, if you don't use it 1 year later, I promise you, it won't be perfect anymore. There will be noises, scratching, it will feel dry. You're gonna want to open it anyway. That's the time you experiment with replacing bushings, with bearings and all of that stuff. I do it on all of my reels, but never with brand new. You've seen me. I don't touch my brand new reels if they feel nice. For example, the new Suara XR, which I replaced the carbon with felt, that didn't work. Then I put second felt, even that didn't work. Then I replaced the nylon line with polyester line, and finally the drag works perfect. So that's a story for another video. Turns out, after all, there is another culprit for surging line, which I never thought of before. But one day I was thinking, why does my 2025 Suara XR surge even with felt, when my 2021 Suara XR doesn't surge, when both reel, everything in the drag has the same geometry and parts. The only thing that was different was the 2021 had polyester line, and the 2025 had 3-pound fluorocarbon, high-end fluorocarbon, but all fluorocarbon in the end is very elastic. It's like, it's very stretchy. Fluorocarbon, people have very high opinion of it, but I've told you, the difference between fluorocarbon and nylon is extremely blurry. They both stretch 20-25%. Yeah, even high-end Japanese fluorocarbon will stretch 20% before breaking. Will stretch 20%, but that's enormous amount of stretch. You know, you cast 30 feet out and you get snagged. To break off, you need to back out 6 or 8 feet before you can break. But when you stretch so much the line, 20%, now do you want to fish with these 30 feet of line in front of you that got stretched 20%? So regardless of where the line broke, I end up, if I fish with fluorocarbon, I end up throwing all of the line that I stretched, that I overstretched on the snag. That's why it's good to get with the boat closer to the jig head, so when you pull and stretch and break your line, you don't have to cut too much line. But if you make a long cast, you bomb 60, 70 feet out, and you get snagged, and you start pulling to break off, and you have to back out like 8-10 feet before you break your line, all of the line in front of you is compromised now. It is amazing. It is overstretched and compromised. You don't know anymore where it's gonna break. I'm pretty much done with fluorocarbons, to tell you the truth. I don't need them for nothing anymore. I was already done with braid, but now I think I'm done with fluorocarbon as a main line altogether too. I need monofilament for float fishing and polyester for everything else. That's it. Don't need fluorocarbon, don't need braid, don't need nothing else. Man, the bite is good. It's not gonna be good for very long though. The sun moves, the wind shows up, the shade, something happens on the point, and the crappie will move deeper, shallower. I don't know where they disappear. But so far I'm very happy with the reel. It's very silky, and it's the drag is just perfect. I don't need to touch it. This is out of the box. I don't need to tune it. Gives me slow clicks. The clicks are vibrant. Listen to these slow clicks. Listen. I mean, this is perfect drag. It's right on the edge. I made a video right here telling people how I like my drag. Not telling people how to set their drag, how I like my drag. I like my drag to be right on the edge. It has to be barely slipping, like to give me confidence that it's on the edge and it's ready to pay line if the fish pulls. The bite is good. Crappie bites so much better than bluegill. You know what I'm talking about. They take the whole float. Bluegill just go tap, 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 tap. There is a few bluegill too, but that's a crappie school right over there. That is a crappie school, and I'm gonna pluck all of them out of the water for a dentist checkup. I just pull them out, check their teeth, and I let them go. See? Look, let me see your teeth. You're looking healthy, brother. Get back in there. Yeah, this lake does not have a big, it has a few big crappie, but it has schools with 8 and 9 inchers. I talked to TWRA. Last time they shocked fish here, they didn't find any crappie. And they think the lake has no crappie. I'm like, dudes, it's 2026, buy a live scope. You don't need to shock fish anymore. Just buy a live scope. You can see much better how much fish is where. They still keep going, shock the whole lake. You don't need to shock the whole lake to see how much crappie is here and there. I told them, don't worry, there is no shortage of small crappie. They don't want to grow big, but there's no shortage of small ones. By the way, if you're fishing specifically for crappie, then yes, I recommend the 1 gram number 10 for float fishing over the 1 gram number 12. But I came here for bluegill. I was prepared to, be happy with even a few small bluegill just to hear and feel the reel. I didn't think I'm gonna find so many crappie here. But if you fish for crappie, I do recommend minimum size 10 hook. And for any kind of swim baits for crappie fishing, I recommend size 8 hook. The 1.5 number 8 or 2.0, number 8 are both amazing, depending on how far do you need to cast and how deep the fish is. But for any kind of swim baits, for crappie fishing, the size 8 hook just works better. You don't lose any fish, and you have enough hook gap to hold the lure properly. Man, these fish are still here. They are not moving. They're not moving. Why? Because I'm casting 45 feet out with a tiny float. I don't go with the boat on top of them and try to do vertical jigging like all of the YouTube pros, except Richard Jean. He doesn't use live scope. But all the other fools, they go with the boat. They want to go on top of the fish and drop, and then they show you the video. And you don't even cast. You go on top and you jig. But I think that they're losing 90% of the fish. Yeah, I know they show you that they catch fish. I know they catch fish too. But I don't know, if there is a school of 30 fish there, I will stop here and I'll catch 25 of them because I'm silent. They cannot see me, they cannot hear my trolling motor, and my float and jig are so tiny that when they land on the surface on top of them, they don't spook them. The noise from my jig, 1 gram number 12, 0.25 olive, and look at this tiny float. Look at this tiny float. When it hits the surface, listen to the noise. Did you hear that? The float almost doesn't make any noise. It's like a little tip, like a cricket hit the water. It's not like bumping with these fill floats. When they hit the water, they're like splash, and all the fish scatter away. This is too easy, folks. Today we're fishing the easy level game. It's like playing a fishing game, but on the easy level. Yeah, today is very easy. Man, and I found the perfect rig. This reel is now, it's gonna sound wrong because I know people are, as soon as I say something and they run and buy it. Today I don't regret paying $150 for this reel. Look. Oh. Where is good angle? Look at this. It looks amazing. It feels amazing. It sounds amazing. I like the knob. Yes, I overpaid, but the colors match the rod a little bit better. Look at these accents than the Legalis. It doesn't feel better than the Legalis though. I will say that. It doesn't sound better than Legalis. My Legalis is super silky also. But I don't know, even just for the accents, it makes me happy. What price can you put on my happiness? Lately I'm extremely selfish. If something makes me happy, I buy. I work very hard, 2-3 jobs, 1 job from 9 to 5, then I edit videos, and then from 10 to 12 my wife and I pack orders every single day. That's 3 jobs. So when I find something that makes me happy, I go and buy it, and I refuse to feel guilty about that. That said, I absolutely do not recommend spending $150 for this Legalis. Just buy the regular Legalis. It has a nicer knob. You can put bearings in the line roller if you want to, not right away, not on a brand new reel. 1 year later, when the line roller gets filled up and clogged up with algae and whatnot, when it's time to clean your line roller anyway, then you can put the bearings. I sell them in my shop. They're super cheap. There is no reason to spend twice on this Legalis, Iprimi, unless you assign such high value to these accents. That's the only reason. There is no other physical or mechanical or engineering justification to spend double on the same reel. Schlap, I can hear this noise from here. It's just a little schlap. Yep. Man, they just sink it. They just sink it, folks. Listen to this. They just sink it. These ducks, they keep fighting. There's too many males. Oh my gosh. They're fighting each other, folks. I thought I disturbed them, but it's the males fighting each other. Mr. Trout Magnet is a little torn, but he'll catch me a few more. Make another cast. I missed this one, and I missed a couple, and I'm starting to think that I might be running short on crappie at this point, and it's only the bluegill left over there, so you still keep getting bites. Oh, that's crappie. Yeah, sometimes you'll have, let's say, 10 bluegill and 10 crappie in a school, and you catch 10 fish and all 10 of them are crappie, and you think that all 20 fish were crappie. But they weren't. The bluegill were too small for your lure. So the only fish interested in your lure was the crappie. Hey buddy, good looking set of teeth there. Get back in there. See you next year for your next dental checkup. Water temps 43 degrees, by the way. Somebody made a move, but a bluegill. That was a bluegill bite. Tsup, tsup. You know what I'm talking about. You don't know. Should you pull the trigger? Because the float recovers so quickly, sometimes the float pops back up before you pull the trigger. That's a crappie though. That's a crappie. Man, it feels good. You know what, folks? Today is one of these days when it's just good to be me. Today, it is just good to be iFish. Amazing weather. I'm still a little bit sick. I've been sick for I don't know how long. Not really sick, but I've had a little bit of cough that doesn't want to go away for like, I don't know, 3 weeks now, at least 3 weeks. Is it really better to stay home than come here, breathe some fresh air? My nose is actually clearer. Man, I missed quite a few fish. Now I'm gonna land the crappie, and you think you've been missing the crappie, but it doesn't mean that you missed the crappie. It's very common statistics confusion. People project what they see onto the unseen. You cannot project what you see onto the unknown. The reason I missed those, I think it was because they were baby bluegill. The reason I didn't miss this one is because it was a crappie. There is no way, when I look at these dots here, there is not at least 30% bluegill there. Man, too easy. Easy level today. Absolute tear. I don't know how many casts I made so far. Maybe, I don't know, 25 or 30. Probably reeled up without a fish no more than 3 times. True story, folks. True story. Look at this. Easy level. They're small. You'd think next year they'd be bigger. They're not bigger next year. I don't know what happens. Next year you catch another small. Where do the ones that were small previous year go? What happens to those? I got the distance this time. It's amazing. With f125, that's all the distance I want. You know, if I cast farther than this, then I can't see the float very well. Your float needs to be bigger, so just so you can see it, but you're not going to detect bites anymore. You can see it, so you can tell if it disappeared, but a little twitches of the float, you're not going to detect those, so it's kind of different kind of fishing. That's a crappie. It's not bluegill, even if I lose it. I'm trying to determine before I lose it, is it crappie or is it bluegill? Because I lost a few. It is a crappie. You can tell right away bluegill from a crappie. Crappie has these slow flip-flop movements, and bluegill, they go like rrr. See, I'm getting bluegill bites for sure now. This used to be only crappie, but these are bluegill bites. I cannot be convinced that it's not. These are definitely bluegill bites. Maybe need to change direction a little bit to show the lure to some new fish, even if it's 10 feet away. See? There's a few bluegill over there that are coming. By the way, this lake also has a long-eared sunfish that can drive you nuts. It can drive you nuts. Hey, here is the first bluegill. I knew there is some bluegill there that are messing with me, biting and cannot connect. This one is not that small. That one shouldn't be a problem. He's got colors too. I'm surprised to see colors when the water is so cold and so muddy. Schlop. Oh my goodness. Yeah, at this point I'm just teasing you. You know, I'm gonna break all of the rules of fishing right now, folks. I'm gonna break every one of them. And I'm gonna leave a hot bite behind me. I'm gonna end this video right here, folks, because of practical considerations. For me, editing a video with more than 30 fish is too much work. And then you have to cut some of the fish out of the video. You have to watch 2-3 hours of video just to make like a 25-30 minute video. So if I keep fishing anymore right now, I'm just creating more work for myself. So I'm just gonna leave a hot bite right now. But let me give you my initial impressions on this rig, folks. It performed absolutely maximum versus my expectations. I was hoping it's gonna be buttery smooth. It is buttery smooth. I was hoping I'm gonna like the new knob. I do like the new knob. I was hoping the drag would be slow clicks and consistent. The drag is absolutely perfect. This drag is just hard to beat. And I enjoy the accents of the reel and the match with my rod. And I definitely enjoyed this quick little video. There will be a lot more of this reel, don't worry about this. But this is enough for this one. Thank you guys very much for watching. What I'm gonna do now is take the talon off, go check some other points and try to make similar videos at different points of the lake. But thank you one more time for watching this one, folks, and I will see you very soon. Bye bye.